My body didn't fail me. I failed my body by refusing to let it heal. I spent years doing the work, the healing. I used all the tools. I did a lot of shadow work and I had the real self awareness. But still, I was stuck. What I didn't realize was I wasn't stuck in my illness. I was stuck in the belief that I still was ill. Hello, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for clicking on this video. If you are new here, then let me introduce myself. My name is Katerina. I am a transformation coach. I help people stop living in their old patterns, their old loops, and their old wounds so they can truly embody the version of themselves that they know they want to be. So I use astrology and deep inner work to do that. And today I'm sharing something quite personal because this is the pattern I see most people in, whether it's the people that I work with, whether it's friends or family, and myself. This is the identity attachment to an old version of yourself. For me, that version of myself was ill, exhausted, completely fatigued, and had financial inconsistency. That version of me kept me safe. Safety can keep you in a relationship where you have a reason to not make the choices that would help you to expand. And I didn't know I was doing that. And that's the part that not a lot of people speak about. You are not stuck because nothing is changing. You are stuck because you're still living like your past is your present. You're stuck because you won't let that identity change. I'm going to let you sit with that for a moment while I sip my frappe. Okay, so if I talk about myself in this, when I was ill, I was not able to walk up the stairs easily. I was not able to do any type of walking, to be honest. I was bedridden for, I would say, at least 2 to 3 years. Um, there were good days and bad days, but 70% of my week was me in recovery, i.e., me lying down because I couldn't move my body. That's the reality of a lot of people who have autoimmune diseases. And the thing is when you live with an illness for so long, like I did, it becomes who you are, not just what you have, but who you actually are. You're the ill person. People have to accommodate you when you go to things. If they want to go out for a whole day, I most likely won't be able to come. And that was my reality for the majority of my 20s. But the thing is it's not my reality now. And it hasn't been for a long time. But again, when you've lived with something for so long, it becomes who you are. So you no longer think of it as a separate thing. You think of it as part of your identity. I kept speaking about myself as the ill person. I kept saying, I can't do that because I'm ill. I can't do that because I'm still ill, or I've got this and I have to be careful so I don't regress back into my illness. And I used that excuse for a long time, thinking it was preventing me from getting ill again. But what it actually was is my nervous system attached itself to a story that kept me safe because it learned that expansion means fatigue. Expansion meant pushing yourself too much, and that meant illness. And the way I reinforced this narrative in the years when I wasn't ill was by not taking up opportunities because I thought, what if I can't do that whole day? What if my body is not able to do that event for the whole day? Um, so I stopped myself from doing a lot of things without realizing why. I attached minor symptoms that I would have to my old identity. I would attach, if I got any sort of fatigue, I would automatically stop because I thought I was ingressing back into my illness identity. But the reality was that my illness was not there anymore. I didn't test my capacity. The moment I started to realize that I was holding on to this identity was actually talking to my healer. And she said, "You're not letting that version of yourself go. You're not ill anymore. And when you attach yourself to the ill part of you, when you keep saying certain things, you're making that thrive. You're making that illness part of you alive." And I had to really sit with that, I had to really go back home and really think about that. And the more and more I thought about it, the more and more the glass broke. And I realized, oh my goodness, I am literally not ill anymore. I am not ill anymore, but I am living as if I am. I'm not pushing myself in movement because I used to not be able to do it. I'm not going for opportunities because I think about my illness first. I even sometimes said that I was still in freeze response when it came to my nervous system. Even that conversation, even that talk was me saying that I'm still ill. I'm still that identity. Letting go of her honestly felt like a bit of a betrayal. I felt like I was letting go of the version of me that got me here. And if I let go of that illness, then all that financial inconsistency during the time that I wasn't ill, all of that freeze response, all of that was keeping that narrative alive. And if I let that go, then who was I? Am I the one to blame for that? Not my illness. I can't blame something outside of me. And I'm not blaming myself in a really harsh way, but just more as in taking accountability. Me sitting there and saying, I'm not ill anymore. So this life that I built is my responsibility now. It's not my illness. That's not my reality. That was a really big grief moment because in my head, I would say to myself, I'm the reason I'm a failure, not my illness. I had to release that version of myself, of everything that she went through. And in order to do that, I needed to pass the point of blame into grief, into acceptance. And then I was able to take action. And that process was actually way quicker. It took about 2 weeks for me to get to the point where I was like, looked back and I thought, oh my goodness, I'm taking action every day. I'm doing things every day that I didn't do before. I'm accepting opportunities and I don't think about my health as a reason to not anymore. The truth is you're living like your past is still happening, even though it isn't. You've got to really think about it and think, are you still living like you don't have financial inconsistency? But in your reality, you might have a job that is financially consistent. Are you, in the way you spend money and in the way you hold money and in the way you talk about money, are you still thinking that you're financially inconsistent? This is where self-awareness is so key because it's the first step. The self-awareness is the first step to understand what your patterns might be. So what actually moves you forward? is the self-awareness of how you use language every day. What's your narrative to yourself? I use my example, but it could be anything, like I said, about financial inconsistency. It could be that you are in a really loving relationship, but you've had a lot of toxicity in your life, that you're still acting like that person is toxic. The language that you use on a daily is keeping that old self alive, and that is what is keeping you stuck. So I want you to ask yourself, think about a story that you was a big part of your life, and ask yourself, who am I without this story? It will 100% feel uncomfortable, but it's the part of the process. You do not have financial inconsistency. You used to have financial inconsistency. You are not ill. You used to be ill. That was the old version of yourself. There are small capacity tests and small language shifts that you can use. So you can say, that was true. I was ill, that was true, but that's not who I am right now. I've spoken about the ladder method, especially last year when it comes to money. But the ladder method is small steps. So maybe you can't go to the full version of yourself that earns a certain amount of money, but you can say, I have financial consistency in my life right now, and that is factual. Financial consistency doesn't say £2 a month is not financial consistency. That is. £100 a month is. We're not talking about the maximum amount a month here. We're talking about facts. The fact is, you earn money monthly. So stop saying that you have financial inconsistency, or stop saying that you don't have money, because you do. This is the self-concept evolution. This is not an overnight rebirth. If you want to go deeper into this pattern work within your chart, and if you're ready to move through it with guidance, with someone helping you through that rebirth, then my rebirth readings are linked below. You don't need to jump to a new identity. You need to stop feeding the old one. Releasing the old identity isn't erasing what happened. It's just choosing not to live there anymore. I'm not the person who was ill. I'm the person who got through that illness and kept going, kept expanding. If you want to do this kind of work, but in a community together, I'm holding a lot of workshops at the moment with the astrology shadow work prompts and with the workbooks that I have. So sign up to my email list and you'll always get updates, or check my posts because I continually update on my community post. All of my links are down below. I want to end with this bit because I think it's extremely important for you to be able to understand and break that glass ceiling like I did. Your past deserved to be there, but it no longer deserves to be running the show for you. You are not where you were at, most likely because you're holding onto an old narrative. And these narratives can be small. These aren't about a huge narrative where you went from completely poor and now you're earning a lot of money, but you think you're poor. These are the tiniest shifts sometimes. And the mental shift changes the action. So if you are on a daily basis working on your self-concept, telling yourself that you can earn more money daily, your actions will mirror that. But if you keep saying the story of that you are financially inconsistent, or the way you handle money is if you were financially inconsistent, that is the story that you will live in. I let my body suffer, even though in my reality I was getting better. I was living every day as if I was still ill. That stopped my growth. That stopped my abundance. As soon as I started to live in the reality that I am in now, things started to shift. This is not about you physically being able to pay for things if you can't. This is about abundance as a whole. I'm going to be doing a workshop on this specific topic. So if you're interested in that and learning more about it, then join my email list below and you'll get all the latest updates on all the workshops that I do. Some of them are free, some of them are not. So you just have to keep an eye and see which ones you can join. Anyway, thank you so much for sitting here and listening to me have this conversation. It was a real eye opener for me, and it was a moment of the most self aware that I feel like I have been. Um, so thank you. Thank you so much for watching this video. I'd love to know what you thought, so leave me a comment down below. And don't forget to like this video, it really helps me out. If you loved this video and you stayed till the end, then I invite you to subscribe to my channel and support this and be part of the workshops and the community. I have a few people who comment quite consistently, and I had so many people join my email list for my Saturn workshop, and I was just so grateful. So anyway, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.